Hey guys, welcome to the video. My name is Delia from TheDeliaB.com, and I'm a fashion designer who likes to help ambitious creatives personalize their style so they can feel better and bolder about themselves and their passions. My channel is about fashion design, style, and self, so if any of that resonates with your soul, hit that subscribe button down below. This week we're going to continue our 5-part beginner sewing series. Last week we talked about the things you need to do in order to not be considered a lazy sewer. It's like the simple techniques and protocols every sewer should be doing. This week we're going to talk about some resources that will be good in your sewing journey. Some things you can check in with, places to learn to help you grow as a sewer. This week we're going to continue the series in part 4 where I'm going to share with you resources that you can learn from and people to connect with to help you on your sewing journey. But before that, I want to remind you that part 5, which is next week's video, I'll be doing a sewing Q&A, so you can ask me any questions you want, whether it has to do with sewing or fashion design. Leave your questions in the comments below, and I will answer them next week in the Q&A. For the topic at hand, sewing resources. I want to share with you some people you can connect with, some places you can learn from to grow your sewing interest. I know for me, it's easier to learn things when you're in a community. It's beneficial to have a community or a support system who's going through the journey with you. People who know the struggle that you're going with, but can also celebrate your wins and completely understand what those wins are. I know for me, my best creative, most fulfilling moment was in college. It was during studio when all my friends, we'd be in there late nights, all-nighters, jamming it out. We'd have crying sessions, we'd laugh, we'd vent. A whole lot of emotions going on in there, but it was supportive. Now our support has moved to Instagram DMs, which is fine. I love them all, but having people to connect with makes something you're learning that much better. Also, knowing where to go, having the confidence of knowing where to go to get your questions answered is also very crucial. You don't want to be in a place where you get stuck or something's not turning out right and you have no idea where you should go next. It can save you time, money, and headaches within the struggle if you can learn from someone who's already been there and done that. All the resources I plan to share in this video, I will leave in the description box. They are the resources that I personally use, so anybody I personally follow, any group I'm personally in, anything that I personally use myself, I will share in the description box for you. Alright, so let's get into it. The first resource that you can use to increase your sewing and to learn more is YouTube University. YouTube is the best free platform that you can use to grow your skill. YouTube is a search engine. Therefore, you can type your questions and any problems that you may have into their question bar. I don't know what it's called. Type your question in the search bar and it will provide you answers to your question. And in YouTube's form, it will provide you videos to answer your questions. Chances are, if you're a beginner sewer and you have a question, your question has already been answered on YouTube. Even experienced sewers use it. They can use it to be refreshed on a technique or even for new techniques. I mean, everyone's learning something new, something that they may have never delved into. YouTube is great for them, or they can use it as inspiration. I've used it for all of the above. I mean, think about it. What have you already used YouTube for in other aspects of your life? I've used it for my hair. I've learned how to transition my hair from relaxed to natural, how to take care of my hair, how to style it, how to help it grow. So what has YouTube University taught you? Share in the comments below. Alright, so we're going to keep the free platform thing going, and the next resource I'm going to list is Instagram. I only started following sewists on Instagram for maybe a couple of months now. Since following them, I've been inspired to purchase patterns and fabric from smaller companies, not necessarily the big wigs of the game. I've been inspired to continue my DIY capsule challenge, which was where I was making clothes for myself, like a 10 by 10 capsule wardrobe for myself, which has since died for a couple of years. But I've been inspired to pick that back up. And I've been inspired to use my own voice and to share my own thoughts as a creative, a designer, and a content creator. Beyond that though, I've learned a few quick hacks and a few shortcuts that I probably wouldn't have come across. These weren't things I was going to search on YouTube. I didn't even know I needed to know these things until they popped up on Instagram. And I think that's the beauty of it. You don't know what you're going to expect. It's just people sharing their knowledge or sharing their own way of doing things. And third on the list is Facebook groups. Facebook groups are where I get my studio vibes from. It's more of a collective of feeding off of each other. You can go into a Facebook group and ask a question. You're having a problem with your sewing machine, you're having a problem with the technique, and there are people on the other side who will answer you back. There's not only one way to do things, so I think that's the benefit of the Facebook group, is you have other people giving how they do it. So you get a plethora of options on how to solve your own problem. Facebook groups, you also have people being generous with their knowledge. There have been people who posted tutorials, pattern making to design, and even business-wise. The reason why I like Facebook groups is because they are kind of a good motivator. Some groups let you post your work in, so you can post pictures of what you have done, the projects you're working on, and you can get that collective hoorah, you know, like people rooting for you or in your corner. And get designs from like casual wear to cocktail to even proms and weddings. So the range of what you see is pretty dope. Things to aspire to, you know? Then there's the types of people inside. Some of them are business owners, so you can learn from custom designers, made-to-order designers, wholesale designers. There's people who make patterns, tailors, seamstresses. The range or types of people in these groups are so phenomenal, and their skill and talent is like so dope. And even just like learning business from them, from contracts to how to handle customers. I don't know if that's the route that you want to go with your sewing, but you know, just getting this information is great. Like you can see what the future holds if it's something you want to go. The next resource, which is a great resource, a little less exciting, are books. They are not that exciting, but they are truly jam-packed with basically all that information that you need to know on a subject. Hopefully they're jam-packed with pictures and with pictures in color, but if they're not, you will still learn a whole lot of concise information from a book. The good thing about books is that all the information you need to know about that subject is right there. They lay out the instructions point by point. You don't have to worry about piecemealing what you find. Like if you search a question in YouTube, you don't have to worry about, is this enough information? Is this all I need to know? Do I need to find the next portion in another video? That book will have it all listed out for you. When I got my machine, I think my mom was the one who bought me my first book. Like I think it came with the machine and a beginner sewing book. And when I would read patterns and if there was something I didn't understand, I would go to that book and look it up. That it was helpful and it showed me what to do when I didn't know what to do. And at that time, I don't think there really was, like YouTube wasn't that deep. So that book is where I learned a lot of the basic techniques like buttons, plackets, what fusible interfacing does. It was a great beginner resource. Beyond that, I added books while I was in college. College requires textbooks, so I had to buy them. But I kept them afterwards just because of they were expensive, but also because of all the information they have in there. Like I still go back to them to this day. Beyond that, I think this year was the first year I purchased books on my own accord. And they were tailoring books because I wanted to focus this year on tailoring. So all the books, again, jam-packed with the knowledge, very focused. They talk about the fabric I need for tailoring specific, techniques for tailoring specific. And these are really thick books, and I know I wouldn't have gotten this same information from Googling. Books are undeniable. Reading is fundamental. I mean, what else? So the next resource we have is school. I'm talking one-on-one mentorships, classes, courses, group courses, workshops, whatever, what have you. A place where you can learn from an instructor or an individual who has been there, done that. If you are not a self-motivator, if you are not a self-starter, or you need outside accountability, these are probably the best methods for you to learn how to sew. I am not either of those things. I am not a self-starter, not self-motivated, and I do need outside accountability, which is why I praise my college education so much. Had I not gone to college, I can almost guarantee I would not have learned the skills that I have learned within this time frame. Now, you don't have to go get into school loans debt or anything. There are a lot cheaper schools. There are a lot of cheaper options to get into if you just want to learn how to sew. The good thing about learning from a person in person, or I guess now virtually, but the good thing about having a person there is you can get your answers answered right away. If you're doing a process and you stumble upon something, you can ask your instructor that question right then and there and get your answer right then and there. You don't have to wait for someone to log back on or to create a video like I'm going to do next week. Like, you can get your answer straightforward. Now, there are options to types of instructors. Like I said, you can have one-on-one, which is you and one other person, or you have workshop or group classes that you go to. There are group courses. There's Mimi G, she has one. There's Seamwork that I know of. These are all groups where you can learn from and have an instructor there to teach you specific things, like teach you how to make this pattern or how to sew this pattern or teach you how to do this thing. Those have the group aspect and the direct instructor aspect. There's actual school. Again, you do not have to get a student loan. You do not have to go into student debt to learn how to sew. Don't do it. Don't say you learned that from me, because I'm still paying on mine. Vocational schools you can go to, quite sure community colleges, they might have some sewing classes for you. So no, if you just want to learn to sew, do not get in debt for this. Not worth it. I'm telling you now, not worth it. All right, so that's this week's video. Thank you for joining me. This week we covered resources you can use, places you can go, things to learn from to help you on your sewing journey. Next week we are going to finish the 5-part series with the Q&A. So if you have any questions about sewing, any questions about design, please drop them in the comments below. Don't be afraid, like, I'm here to help you. So drop them in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer them next week. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when it drops. If you want to see parts 1 through 3 of the Beginner Sewer series, you can find the links in the description box below also. Until next week, guys, remember to stay safe and keep designing your best life. Bye.